Fearless bans there in the center of your screen. You touched on it, Betty. 4 of these top-tier physical damage junglers already going to be banned out, as Varus will maintain his place on the ban list, as will MF.
MF has been something that they do not want to give IU. We saw a similar situation yesterday from G2. Akali now going to make its way onto the ban table, removing some playmaking from Tuts. How will Fury respond? What direction do they consider problematic? Nocturne is something we've seen consistently remove from play. They do not want to give it over towards Levi, and it's going to remain on the ban table. Of course, Maokai and Sejuani, 2 junglers we're keeping our eyes on, still up and available. Kalista, an AD carry that did slip through the bans in the previous game, but perhaps rising in priority here. Well, I say that it showed up in the second phase, but something that could be prioritized.
That guy has swag.
He certainly does.
Yeah. We could never. We couldn't pull that off.
Never could I ever pull off a color scheme like that. I promise you, Azale.
All right, well, waiting for the 3rd ban here from GAM. It is going to be Rise, so it has really been a theme, I feel like, through these first 2 days, is the priority on these globals and semi-globals, banning them out, taking them away.
Twisted Fate.
Twisted Fate is up and available. That's where I was going to go. The fact that it still is up for Fury, it feels like conspicuously absent from the ban list, and now they have to make the decision, do we want to ban it out, or do we not think that Eris, who it looks like has subbed in, is going to play it?
Ooh, well, this is the thing.
Or has he? Because isn't that Toots right there? I think it is.
Yeah, Eris on the side of GAM.
Oh, yes, of course.
When they had Emo in the roster, they were consistently getting rid of the Twisted Fate. Perhaps this is something that Eris has in his back pocket. We'll have to wait and see, as the first pick yet to be locked in. GAM taking their time thinking about it. Do they want to lock in jungle? They want the Kalista. Something that we talked about has kind of moved to the second phase of bans a lot in this series. AD carries have kind of fallen to the wayside with a priority on getting that top side. The Twisted Fate now being available would be our first one of MSI. We've been hearing all about how strong it is on the current patch.
Yeah, definitely really powerful champion right now. Can play the map incredibly well, enable you through that split push. And once you get to the later stages and you have the rapid fire, just fishing with rapid fire gold cards is really tough to deal with. I was going to say Ashe up and available as well. To me, that is one of the strongest answers into the Kalista. When you just pick range into Kalista and you're harassing with, you know, something like a Nico or even a Seraphine, you know, Seraphine Ashe is going to be so annoying for Artemis to deal with on this Kalista, where you're just going to be outranged and constantly getting poked away at.
It's exactly what we saw from the G2 series, that Fury did in fact win. The Kalista really struggled to have impact, and of course the inbuilt synergy that both Seraphine has with Ashe, thanks to how her E works and with the slow already being applied, the potential root can come through. The Nico being hovered right now, GAM just hovering it as they contemplate their other options, want to make full use of the time that they have available to them. The beauty of the Nico is that it can of course be flexed into both the support and the mid lane position, is where we conventionally see them. Right now we will assume it's in support, considering that it's likely going to match the Ashe and the Seraphine that we see on the bot side of the map. Jungle is kind of my expectation right now for GAM. Question is, what direction are they thinking about? Do they want to go for something like the Sejuani, relatively safe? Do they want to go a little bit more scaling? Or are they going to completely ignore what I'm saying and instead lock in an Aatrox?
So Aatrox going to get locked in here for Kiaya. It does feel like you need, you know, some sort of reliable engage. Yes, you can Kalista ult in the Nico and have that be your start to the fight, but generally it doesn't feel like it's very successful as a solo engage. As this guy's playing ARAM, buying hats. Must be full build.
Stacking those
stacking
hats,
them up.
Yes.
Either that or he's a troll and he's just not buying
an excellent demonstration of perfect balance in all things.
Impressive, impressive. As we do have the answer coming through here from Gigo. He's going to grab the Ambessa. So both sides still will be needing their mid laner, presumably, as well as their jungler. Of course, Nico could be going mid, and Seraphine, in theory, can be going mid, but we are expecting these to be supports.
Now, Fury is in a position where they could really pinch the mid lane pool and
double ban, take one away.
Exactly. They could do the same thing for jungle, right? So depending on what they feel they need to prioritize, there's a lot of flexibility with the direction. It seems like jungle is the direction that they're going. With the Trundle ban, immediately alarm bells start to ring. Sejuani, potentially even a Yone alongside it. Of course, with that, they would have very limited AP on the side of Furia, but Sejuani as a jungler just provides good engage, great follow-up, and just good synergy with champions like Mbessa as well.
And if Levi's not able to grab a tank or something, honestly, you don't really care if you're more physical damage heavy, because there's not anyone that's really over there to super punish it, right? You know, sure, things like Tabby's become, you know, more efficient, but it's not really that big of a deal as long as there is not an immense amount of tankiness over on the other side. And you know, Skarner would be one of those tanks that you could answer with, you know, if they did go towards something like the Yone that you're talking about.
Jarvan. Oh wow, a lot of junglers have been removed from the pool.
Jarvan and Skarner. So yeah, all the tank junglers, the prime tank junglers are all getting banned out as well. As we do have the Maokai, the Sejuani, the Skarner all removed.
Is fantastic into Kalista. Just those champions that leverage their mobility. Poppy is just really good at that.
I've got to say, it feels like it was something that I didn't immediately think of, and I feel like GAM kind of forgot about it too. Because when you're looking at both the Aatrox and the Kalista, like that is so difficult to deal with.
100%.
It really does fit the bill for everything that they would want. That being said, Lilia, if he did go for that, is a great matchup into the Poppy. I do not believe that we're going to get an 80 assassin into the Poppy. I think that would be really tough. Okay, so he is actually going Kha'Zix. This is kind of crazy.
I don't know if it's good, but I like it. Kha'Zix being locked in on the international stage, always fun to watch. The Twisted Fate to round things out, the pick potential that becomes available, the side lane plays that become an option. Exciting composition from GAM.
It is really exciting. So it is going to be TF Kha'Zix as the final two picks here. It does feel like you are very committed to, you know, getting flanks, to finding picks, because if you're just trying to walk straight through a Poppy and a Seraphine ult, like it is going to be almost impossible here. I think Sylas is also a great pick because you can match the roams of the TF with the stolen ultimate. You have things like the Pop Blossom to steal as well. So I do think it really works. It's also not really one of these champions that you want to like hard focus in a fight, right? Because you can get relatively tanky, you can be difficult to actually knock down. And so it does feel like it's going to be very tough for this GAM lineup to fight through what Furia has drafted and try to get to that back line where, again, you know, you're in this situation where it just always feels like IU is kind of like the only target.
It's one of those matchups in mid lane where I still remember Showmaker's Twisted Fate back in the day and how oppressive he was on the TF in this matchup in particular, that is just burned so clearly into my mind that I know how much damage a TF is capable of doing in this matchup and how difficult it can be for the Sylas. We'll see how Toots manages the pressure or if he really experiences that much, because if you're willing to fight in the mid lane, it can get pretty crazy. This Kha'Zix though, I mean, there's a lot of dash champions going into the Poppy. Now, of course, Poppy can't block them all.
That's what I always tell myself too when I have a draft like this.
It's like, technically, she can. If you all dash at the same time while the thing is up, then yes, she can actually block them all. But in reality, that's not normally how the fight plays out. What I will say, though, is just Poppy makes it harder. It makes you second guess. It always adds that extra thing that you have to play around. And of course, it's on the Poppy player. If you just use that steadfast presence willy-nilly, then it becomes very easy to play around, and the mobility champions aren't punished that hard. But some interesting drafts. Kind of what we've come to expect with Fearless as you get deeper in. And we're going to be jumping into Game 3.
I won't say that I expected the Kha'Zix into the Poppy, though, in a Game 3. There still are, you know, a lot of options, but Levi throwing it down, and Kha'Zix definitely is a feast or famine champion. It is very difficult to make work at the professional level where people are so aware of where you could be coming from, so good at actually peeling and interrupting you looking for these plays. The bot lane as well, I think, is going to be difficult for GAM. You are definitely very heavily outranged by this Seraphine Ashe when you're playing the Kalista, so it's going to be a tough draft to execute on, but if they can make it work, it would be extremely exciting. And we saw Inspired even playing the Kha'Zix in Game 5 of our finals. We're able to make that work, but it's definitely tough.
I think back as well to Canyon picking the Kha'Zix, often using it as a matchup into things like the Xin Zhao in particular, just because of your strong dueling prowess. And I think that's often the idea that Kha'Zix is a very good duelist. In the 1v1, especially a champion like Poppy early on, you struggle to win out on the isolated matchup. But in order to leverage that, you need control of your lanes. And so you've already highlighted the bot side of the map. It's not going to go that favorably. It's going to be made even worse now that the map has been split and the bot lane of GAM has kind of been isolated from support from their jungler.
And we saw what happened yesterday against BLG when that bot lane got isolated. They were able to get dove early on. It just became an absolute disaster as This is the difficulty when you are heavily outranged. They're going to go for it. They're going to be looking for this poke. Kiaya, though, he could be that pressure on the top side that they need. He is a player who has showed up big for them so many times, and him and Levi can really get Kiaya ahead, put him into a place where he's very difficult to take down on that Aatrox, then that could be the difference maker. As Tatu, again, just trying to clear down towards his bot side. Kiaya taking a nice trade onto Gigo, but the problem is Artemis and Elio still level 1 here. You can see Artemis has even missed a lot of the experience. He's actually behind where Elio is, so wasn't even in range for a lot of this XP, and he needs to get level 2, but they took away enough of those Krugs that Tatu didn't get level 3 on his 3-camp clear, so that's actually really, really big that Elio was able to do that, stealing away some of those, and now he gets level 3 as he actually soaks in that experience. So we'll be able to potentially look for the dive, and I think they're going to go for it here. Elio wants to be the main target because Artemis is still level 1. Great route. The Tangle Bard's locking up Jojo, gets him low, but now the redive is going to come in. Artemis isn't even here. He's got no help whatsoever. Elio has nowhere to go. It's an easy first blood there for IU, as Artemis wasn't even involved. It's 17-3 CS. It feels like game 3 against BLG just yesterday.
Artemis was completely denied from experience, which means that there was nothing he could offer to Elio in that dive. It was effectively a 1 versus 3. Levi, though, aware of the dive being invested. Tatu hasn't had time to clear his side of the jungle, which means that Levi wants to use this window to move in and steal away what camps he can. He's foregone his blue buff and his wolves. He's stealing away the wolves right now. And this is the type of matchup that he's looking for, but Jojo and Aya.
This is kind of spooky, though. He could actually get spotted here. Oh, just barely. I mean, if Tatu got up the steadfast presence there, he could have actually interrupted him on that, and then the collapse potentially could have come through. Kiaya and Gigo trading very heavily. Nice Tangle Barbs does land, try to get some damage down onto Jojo, but Artemis has not even gotten to base and buy, and you can see the itemization much better, therefore IU. As the chain's gonna connect, Kiaya's gonna look for it, and Kiaya's gonna get it just when they need it most. The GAM top laner comes up big time.
Exceptional from Kiaya in the top lane, getting a solo kill. He has been chipping away at Gigo's health bar, and he just gets the better of him. I feel like in the lane, we've been seeing that consistently throughout today. Kiaya getting himself a solo kill and getting GAM on the board.
That is huge, but again, they're going to have to solve this problem here. How do you keep Artemis relevant in this game? He's got nearly half the CS of his opponent. Yes, there are more minions coming towards him, but Levi did not actually reveal there. That was critical. They ping where the ward could be. Now Artemis looking for a fight here. Jojo going to be rooted up. Elio has been on point. Levi does arrive, but it's IU stepping forward. It's IU flashing to follow and getting the kill. Levi should be able to run him down. Does get one back as Eris fighting heavily here against Toots in the mid lane, taking the better end of that trade. The trade of flashes did have to spend the cleanse as well, though, for Artemis. And again, he goes down, and it's going to be in this awkward position where he's just not getting any of this income. The kill went to the Kazakhs. IU is 800 gold ahead in this individual matchup, and Artemis barely even has 800 gold of combat stats.
It's a very awkward situation that the bot lane finds themselves in, and this is where the responsibility of the other GAM members just raises. They're going to need to have... They're going to have to support their AD carry as much as possible, and they're going to have to get him through what is a rough early laning phase. Fury was able to do it in game 1.
Here comes the collapse from Kiaya. Tatu could be in some trouble. He does have the flash and is going to have to spend it. Kiaya just got to level 6. Is he going to pop the ulti? Yes, of course he is. In comes Twisted Fate, and Gigo's going to get locked down by that gold card. There's the Tangle Barbs to follow it up, and it's another kill for GAM. Tatu gets greedy, and he gets punished.
Eris and the Twisted Fate, the ability to quickly collapse, demonstrates how scary these situations can be and how effective the Twisted Fate ultimate can be in these situations as well.
I've also got to highlight, Tatu had not even based before going for that invade. So he was just on his jungle item, where you look over on the other side, Levi had a good 1,500 plus gold worth of combat stats that he had actually purchased up. So when you invade on a play like that without having spent any gold, you were stuck in a position where you can't actually take the fight. You just are hoping to steal the camp and then get out of there. But unfortunately, it's Gigo that pays for the sins of his jungler there.
I'm hoping that we can get a replay of that last fight while we are sitting in the pause, just to kind of break down exactly what went through in that play. Because as you highlighted, there are a number of steps, and often when it comes to an invade, you've got to make sure that you're doing the proper prio, and things like Twisted Fate your ability to collapse is so quick. We've seen it with Talia as well. When utilizing the wall, you can just cut off the enemy mid from being able to roam over and assist the jungle. And even if you do have that push, that doesn't necessarily mean much if Twisted Fate can literally teleport on your face and turn the fight into a numbers advantage. That stun card providing so much value in these early skirmishes. The top side of the map still going very well for GAM.
Really well.
Even though Artemis finds himself in a very difficult position right now, the fact that the top side has the advantages that they do means that they're in a good position to, at the very least, bring him back into the game.
Absolutely, and we will update you as soon as we know what is going on here with this pause. We are going to try to get that replay in while we do wait, but it is a very even game overall. Of course, bot lane for one side heavily in the favor of Furia, and then the top side definitely going the way of GAM. Kiaya grabbing that early solo kill, Levi being able to pick up a kill, and then even the Twisted Fate getting involved there, and I believe he was the one who actually claimed that third kill for the Feat of Warfare. So GAM going to be happy about what they've gotten going on the top side, and as long as those members are strong, they can be the ones to put the pressure on IU and make his job very, very difficult.
100%. The thing about Ashe Seraphine, though, is it's quite a defensive bot lane. You have the ultimate available on the Seraphine. The amount of CCs and slows that you have in conjunction with both the Ashe and the Seraphine makes them a difficult bot lane to get onto. And flanks was something that you talked a lot about that we'll have to keep track of if GAM is able to properly execute, as they have no true engage, I say, with this composition to make it easy to start the fights that they want.
Absolutely. So just quick update, and what we have been told is that there is hardware issues that are being reported on the Furia side. So they are having that investigated. They will get that sorted out and fixed up as soon as possible, as our IT team will be diligently working on stage to get everything up to snuff.
Ideally, you want your hardware to work.
Yes.
I would say that that is a crucial component of any competitive game.
I would agree. And both these teams looking quite even so far in this third game. Of course, this is an elimination match, lower bracket here in the play-ins. Whoever loses will be done at MSI, the first team to exit. Of course, not a situation that anyone wants to be in. Both of them would like to win, and the winner here would then play the loser of the next match, which is BLG versus G2. That'll be the series coming up right after this.
I mean, MSI has always been the tournament of champions, in a sense. They just kind of only invite the best of the best, and it's...
That's why NA only needed one team.
Exactly. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's in the sense that the competition is tough. The format is also ruthless. You know, you lose two and you're out, and winning it only makes the competition harder. So it's definitely a super fun tournament. It's always been one of my favorites throughout the year just because of how competitive it is.
So this is the replay. We are not back into game. This is the replay of the invade for Tatu. Again, you can see he had not purchased any items whatsoever. Levi on the other side had spent quite a lot of gold.
But you can see that the logic is, well, I've got 3 members here. It should be a relatively safe invade. With Jojo at my back, I feel relatively safe. However, the ability of the Twisted Fate to just abandon the mid wave, ulti into the play, provide that stun card, and turn the play in their favor was, I think, the biggest difference maker. And it was a situation where Furia thought that they had more control than they did. The response from GAM was good, and it ends up resulting in more kills to the GAM top side. Getting that kill over towards the Twisted Fate as well. We already know his gold passive helps just generate more resources. Once he's being left alone, if you give him a kill as well, that gold really starts to stack very quickly, and that Twisted Fate gets very out of control.
Yeah, exactly. You get ahead, you get pushed in the wave, and then all of a sudden you can attack that top lane where Kiaya is already winning. Gigo is quite behind. You know, we saw that Kiaya was already level 6 for that fight. Gigo was not, so was able to pop that ulti, chase him down, you know, help to get that kill. And I do think that is clearly going to be the avenue for attack. You know, continue to go towards your strength, look towards that top lane, try to play through side lanes where TF Kha'Zix plus the Aatrox, that is a scary potential dive. You know, as Gigo, you're under your tower as Ambessa. There's not much outplaying the gold card.
It's a very terrifying pick comp. Like, one moment, you're in your lane, having a great time. The next, an invisible bug with giant sides for hands shows up, and then you've also got a man throwing cards at your face. And that just appears in an instant. Twisted Fate ultimate, the stealth from the Kha'Zix, it can very quickly turn into a 3 versus 1 situation that you're not prepared for. And so the things that you've got to be mindful of when you're playing is that invisible threat, the ability of a team to collapse on you. So every time you make a play, anything that you do can quickly be punished.
Absolutely, got to track where they could be on the map. Update, we are getting the ready checks for the players, so the issues have been solved. As the players will do their ready checks, we'll hopefully be heading on into game here pretty quickly. It looks like we are back and ready for the continuation here of game number 3. GAM out to a 1,000 gold lead, but IU still maintaining a great advantage down on this bot side between the 80 carries.
I mean, credit to Artemis. As far as I can tell, he's been able to close the CS gap. Artemis has a level lead now. So while Jojo was off roaming, rather than keeping that pressure up in the bot side of the map, he has just been doing a good job of farming up and, at the very least, doing his best to get back into this game.
Yeah, you can see Eris there was trying to bait Toots in, see if he would actually jump forward. If he would have had a nasty surprise with Levi waiting.
I mean, we haven't seen TF in competitive for all. We've obviously seen bits and pieces of it showing up around the world over the last two splits.
Oh, they're going to pop the ghost. They're just trying to run them down. Tangle Barbs does not connect. Tatu is here. Maybe a bit of an overforce there, as now the stolen TF ult is going to come through for Toots. They popped quite a bit there. You know, the ghost is going to be used. They used the stolen ulti. They can't really find anything. I think they needed a bit more patience on the play, as now Eris is going to get to shove this in for free and take an easy reset.
I mean, look at the advantage that Eris now has. A 12 CS lead, 700 gold, facilitated by both the passive and the kill that he was able to find. Eris is really being set up for success, and for those that don't know, GAM are very free-flowing with how they interchange their mid laners. Eris is the type of player that's a lot more resource demanding. He's the type of player that wants to have that jungle attention, wants to have a few more resources funneled into him, and when he's given to them, he's often the bigger carry for the team, in contrast to Emo, who's a little bit more reserved and more of a team player. And right now, he is really being set up for success. He is being set up to be that carry for the team. And we'll see how that translates as we get closer to the mid-game. First Dragon is, of course, still available. Neither side have put a priority on it. But with the Grub spawning soon, it looks like right now, GAM have no interest in contesting it.
Yeah, and GAM is actually going to go between the waves here to try to make it so Gigo can't actually get back to that tower. We'll see if they can keep him off, as Levi's going to be soloing up this Dragon in the meantime. And yeah, they have spotted where Gigo is. So Gigo's going to be trapped in that side brush. He's losing all of the farm right now to this tower, as the tower is just denying minion after minion after minion. GAM really getting the better of this. As you see on the top side, Kiaya is going to be getting this free farm. Their prize will be the grubs, though, so that is the trade-off. But the question is, are the grubs more valuable than these multiple waves that they've lost this bot tower, as well as potential plates? Remains to be seen.
I think GAM can be very happy with how this early game is going so far. The bot lane situation looked terrifying. The biggest contrast to the BLG game in this one is BLG were already winning the game at this point.
They're going to look for a dive here. Hex Flash coming in. Can he find the stun? He cannot. Kiaya trying to survive. The TF ulti is there to respond, and he misses the stun. He's going to nail it, though, with the gold card, as Tatu tried to reject the TF, couldn't make it happen. And Kiaya gets the instant response from Eris. Great play to turn that dive around.
We were just talking about it, Azael. Every play you make, you have to be super conscious of a man with a deck of Magic playing cards showing up. The Twisted Fate immediately ultis towards the top side. They turn their play in their favor, and the Sylas even roamed up to try and respond as well. And what is the result of all of this? The bot lane getting completely free access onto this tower.
And I mean, Gigo never got back to that bot lane tower, by the way. This is like 5+ minion waves that died to this tower in a row. That is a massive amount of experience and gold that has been lost. You can see Kiaya is about to hit level 9. Gigo's 7.5. That is that difference of everything that he's missed out on. And that is a really big deal, as Gigo was already behind, and now he's 30+ CS behind. He's over a full level behind, and he is going to really struggle, I think, in this game.
Artemis holds on to the level lead that he was able to build over IU. In terms of the gold, it's practically nothing now. Their itemization is pretty much identical. The Blade of the Ruin King going to be coming out very soon for Artemis. I mean, he's just completed his base, so we'll likely have to generate a decent amount of gold. And as you rightly highlighted on the top side of that, Kiaya is chilling. A 950 gold lead over his counter matchup.
I mean, look at that.
Similar in the mid lane as well.
Sundered Sky to not much over on the other
Rod
side.
of Ages at 10 minutes into the game. Like,
Yeah.
things are looking good for GAM.
They're looking really good. You're going to get that stacking up that much earlier here. And Gigo just is not going to be able to interact whatsoever. You see the one-item power spike even done in the jungle there for Levi. He's got the early Ghost Blade, so is going to be going for a pretty aggressive build in this game, as you would expect on the Kazakhs.
Yeah, I mean, he's already been the point of conversation, I will admit. We were a bit skeptical about the Kazakhs coming in on this draft. our main concern with this GAM composition is how do they really start fights? Like, they've got to be quite clever with their execution and approach to the team fights. As Kiaya gets a massive trade in the top lane once again. Because they're going to rely on flanks, rely on picks, rely on creative ways. And if your main engage is literally just throwing your Nico into the enemy team and hoping that it sticks, it might work, but you're going to need good vision coverage, good flank angles, and an easy access onto IU, which I don't think is going to be that easy.
No, it's not whatsoever. And I will say, though, a lot of those problems are solved by being ahead, because then often you get the push, you show up to the objective first, now they have to walk into a potential gold card and potential poke as they are coming through those chokes. And the fact is, well, that GAM is going to be able to play the sidelines very well with this TF. I always think when you have a split push comp, it's so critical to get early dragons because it buys you time then.
100%.
You're not drawn to that potential soul fight. They got the first dragon. We'll see if they can go for the second. They're going to look for a dive here. Kiaya trying to set it up. Eris has the gold card prepped and ready. And Gigo's going to get stunned up. Great sidestep from Kiaya. Dodges the public execution as Levi will not be dodged. Jumps in, takes his fear, and knocks him down.
This is exactly how we wanted to see GAM play this composition. They've been reactive with the TF ultimate. They've been proactive with the TF ultimate. It feels like that whenever Eris has the TF ultimate available, they're looking to make a play.
Exactly. I mean, we're 12 minutes in. He's had 3 successful ults.
Yep.
He had the counter dive on top lane, this dive now, as well as the TF ult to actually catch Tatu on the invade. That is fantastic. Everything he is doing is working really well.
Because there was the jungle invade as well.
Yeah.
So he's been on point with these ultis
everywhere.
in this game. A really high impact TF performance so far. Levi, I was worried about how he would have impact on this game, but he finds himself at 2-0-0 on the Kha'Zix as well. He's not going to be spotted out on vision just yet. Server's highlighting for is that they are aware of the vision made by Furia, but it feels like Furia are just kind of running out of options. Poppy needs setup in the lane to be able to make a play, and you think bot lane, they have it. Mid lane, Silas has some as well. But on the top side of the map, there's very little that they can do for Gigo.
There really is, and Levi is here and waiting as Toots is going to get the bad news, steals the Kha'Zix ult. We'll be able to use that to go and Viz and just back it up. So well played there by Toots in the response, but that is the play that they were looking for earlier. Eris just waiting with Levi behind him. If you ever jump in there, you're going to get hit. And if you never jump in these melee versus range matchups, well, guess what? You get slowly whittled down, you get pushed in. So it is kind of that lose-lose scenario if you don't have eyes on Levi. And Artemis now, the deficit doesn't even matter. He's even in the farm. This horrible bot lane scenario that they were in early on has been completely mitigated.
And this bot tower is about to fall as well. They've been able to get all 4 plates from it. They're going to secure this tower. The gold will swing in Artemis' favor.
Look at the farm up here. That's a problem.
And now the gold is all blue. It is advantage across the board. GAM have accrued a 4K gold lead. It is the opposite story of what we saw in Game 2. Furia were nothing but dominant, but huge credit to Eris. They needed him to come in and have a carry performance, and he has done just that on this Twisted Fate.
He's smurfing. We'll see if Furia can turn it around, because I still think their 5v5 is very good compositionally, but this far behind, it is really tough to make it work. You know, Game 1, like you said, very back and forth. Game 2 was a stomp for Furia. Game 3 is looking like GAM are crushing right now. You can see the additional plate gold that they have grabbed has been massive. And I feel like everything kind of went wrong off of that lane swap from Furia. It would be really interesting to hear, you know, the Death's opinion on that, you know, when they do break this game down, because I felt like with Artemis and Elio, how much they were able to keep Gigo away from that bot lane tower really changed the game. Like, he lost 4 to 5 full minion waves, and they farmed all the plates in the meantime.
Look at how much gold Eris has gotten from his passive. Like, that is just so much from the TF passive.
That's crazy.
It's such a strong passive, and it's just like, it is a win.
I think that's passive gold.
Oh, yes. You might be. So maybe the other was actually the
other
passive.
Might be the passive gold and bounties and stuff, because I was like, wait a second, that seems like too much.
That is a good call. Because you're right, that was a lot of gold.
It would be a lot of gold. I was like, really? It's that good? But definitely, you can check that out in the coin-based gold grind graphic. It is interesting to see, you know, the breakdown of the gold and where it's all coming from when someone has a lot of kills versus, you know, if they're getting a ton from towers and plates and things like that, which would be included, I assume, in the other as well. So definitely cool to see.
Herald was just secured. Eris has been sent towards the top side of the map.
They want Gigo again, I think. They are moving up towards this top side, and Eris has the ulti ready. They're trying to get vision in the jungle, make sure that there's no sort of a response that could be coming here from Furia. We do see some Furia members moving up here, but will they be too little? Will they be too late? Eris pushing this in. Gigo definitely trying to clear out the wave as best he possibly can. And I think he's just going to have to back off now, as this next wave would be incredibly dangerous to stay for.
I'd love to see GAM use the Herald mid. I feel like this top tower is a foregone conclusion. It's going to be too difficult for Furia to really keep it alive. Eris slowly chipping away at its HP bar. Guigo gets some nice trades down still. Death stance first for Gigo. You don't really love to see that on the Ambessa.
I mean, I think it's basically the early lane went so bad for him, and it's mostly physical damage. I mean, it's physical damage, jungle, and top. So he's saying, you know what? If we're going to win this game, it's not going to be about me. I just need to not die. I need to try to be a bit more tanky, you know, make sure that I'm giving up the minimum. But they have done a really good job of pushing this forward, and I think that's also why they moved Eris up to lane against him. It's like, great, you built this armor? Guess who doesn't care about it? Our Twisted Fate.
Lich Bane now finished for Eris.
Oh my
7 stacks. Once we get to about 20
not even
minutes.
17 minutes, he has 2 items.
Once we get to about 20 minutes, he will also get that extra level come through from the Rod of Ages. But this Twisted Fate is looking terrifying. Dragon in about a minute and a half. The lane assignments are likely to change very soon. Actually, they may just keep the TF top side. It's pretty safe up there. A lot of Furia's resources being invested bot. Kiaya likely harder to dive than that of the Twisted Fate. Looks like they are just going to concede this tower, which I think makes a ton of sense. Set your sights on the mid lane instead, and I love this map movement we're seeing right now. Both Levi and Eris moving towards the mid lane, knowing that they have the numbers advantage here. Open up mid, push your advantage even more if you can. Use the Herald to siege onto the tier 2 as well.
Tatu is coming, though. They're going to TP. They want to try to force a fight here. Furia is going to look, but Levi has spotted the teleport coming through. Will the rejection work this time? Elio is going to interrupt it with the Pop Blossom. Eris arrives with the ulti, and Tatu is the target, but over on the other side, Kiaya is in trouble. Can he actually pop his ult and try to heal back up? He has the ulti, but it's not going to be enough as he's going to get shut down by Toots. On the other side, Elio is running. Levi trying to find some sort of play here. It's a trade of top laners there. Not bad from Furia from a very disadvantageous position to get that 1-for-1.
Yeah, it was a messy fight, and I would say this is the best case scenario for Furia. When you're this far behind, trading 1-for-1 is definitely a great move to make. But GAM, the coordination and their target focus, again, something that we're continuing to see in their team fights is just who do they want to lock down? And it felt like that because Furia was grouped up in this situation, GAM was attacking from multiple sides. They had different priorities on who they actually wanted to lock down, and that kind of left Kiaya in a very awkward spot in the middle of Furia, make it very easy for them to turn their attention towards him. Gigo ends up falling because of how weak and squishy he ultimately is in these fights, being level 11. And it ends up just being a 1-for-1. The good news for both sides, no objectives ended up going either way. Top side has been pushed in. GAM in a better position now as they make their way towards the Dragon.
And this would be their 3rd Dragon if they can grab it. We'll see if they're going to be able to do that. Artemis playing through mid. They want to get Prio there. We do see that Gigo is on the top side, but he has his teleport. It was, in fact, Toots that used it in the last one. And now the teleport is going to be spent here. Gigo going to be coming in very deep as they are already on the Dragon. We got to get eyes on that and see how it's looking. Levi trying to get rejected here by Tatu, but he is going to be able to find it, so he knocks him out, and Kiaya is in trouble once again here. Kiaya has no ult, he has no flash. It's going to be the first kill, and Furia may have just pulled off the heist. They knock out the jungler, they kill the top laner, and they take the Dragon.
Furia punishing the positioning of GAM once more. They realize that GAM is indecisive around their approach to the Dragon. Furia fully sent their attention onto the Dragon. They knew that Levi was isolated on the objective. They remove him from the equation, and they turn their attention to the raid boss that is Kiaya. They're helping close that experience gap between Gigo and Kiaya. They find themselves another kill, and GAM, the momentum, is slowly shifting the way of Furia.
Yeah, Furia, a couple good plays back-to-back. We can watch this again.
Kiaya kind of committing very hard onto Toots. Gigo TPs from a nice angle, and that means that when Tatu gets the ultimate onto Levi, it creates this massive numbers advantage in the pit, and the rest of GAM are hesitant to approach with the arrival of IU as well. That means that the Dragon goes uncontested, Levi is forced to disengage, and they deny soul point from GAM.
Really well played, honestly, by Tatu. He held that Poppy ult for so long, and I think, you know, we saw that this 3-man squad of Artemis, Elio, and Eris were really kind of nervous to walk in because they didn't want to walk in and then get 3-man rejected, but what ended up happening is they put no pressure on the Poppy. He doesn't get interrupted on the ult, he finds Levi, so they win out the fight in a different way, and the fact that Kiaya had no ult from the previous fight, had no flash from the previous fight, Man, it's just a win there for Furia. Stopping that soul stack, definitely very nice, but they are trying to control vision up around this Otacon. And we'll see if they can look towards that. The Evolved Spike Racks are in here for Levi, so he is going to have more poke, a lot more slow and control now in these fights.
Smite was used there by Tatu.
And Otacon getting low. It is going to be spotted out by the blue orb. It's down to half HP. Tatu again threatening. Can he find the ejection? This time it's not going to be on anyone, but Toots is going to go in. The Pop Blossom comes through, lands on multiple member, but Toots is in the middle of everybody, steals a Pop Blossom, and is going to get it down. Artemis trying to cut out, trying to take down Toots, can't quite do it. And on the other side, Tatu gets another. Furia out of nowhere. Crush the fight. GAM does take the Otacon, but it's a 4-for-0.
The front to back just goes so favorably for Furia. The way that Toots steals away the Nico ultimate and says, okay, that's a nice engage. Let me show you how it's supposed to be done. So much damage was done underneath the Otacon. Keep your eyes on Toots. Dives into the back line, gets a massive ultimate off, connects onto 3, and that really just sets up Furia to clean up the fight. GAM is once again forced to split up, they're forced to disengage, and Furia walk away with the fight.
And you could see it was showing that Toots had the Kha'Zix ult. So I was kind of blindsided when he actually did have the Nico ult that he stole there, was able to find such a good engage.
Medic has run into this problem before. It's because he was
shaped with his Kha'Zix, exactly.
And so when you steal it, yes.
So I wonder, if GAM was at all kind of juked out by that as well, because when the Nico is shifted into the Kha'Zix and you steal the ult, it shows that you stole the Kha'Zix ult even though you have the Nico ult. So it is kind of one of those weird interactions. And let's be honest, there's a lot of them with Nico. And with Silas. So was a huge ult, able to turn that around. Now the gold lead is completely gone. They were 5,000 gold up, and they've just lost basically 3 engages back to back to back. The game is slipping away from them, and now despite all of the work that they did early on, it's going to be tough because compositionally, I think Furia in the 5v5 is just that much stronger, and it felt like they needed that lead. They needed the soul. They needed all these things that they were working towards, and now it just hasn't really paid off.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the scaling because of the Ashe Seraphine, also Toots. He just has some great ultimates that he's able to steal, with the Nico being the biggest one when it comes to the straight-up 5v5. And when it comes to engage, GAM, not only is their engage not the most reliable, but also the fact that there's a Poppy on the other side makes it even harder. So, okay, this Nico comes in, I'll just pop him right back out. So it feels like Furia, you're completely right. When it comes to the straight-up 5v5 team fights, Furia should have the advantage, and that's why we put so much stress on GAM finding flanks, finding creative ways to find picks. You can't just play the traditional teamfight style with a composition like this. And remember, GAM found themselves with a 4K gold lead. Everything was going their way, and now that gold lead is evaporating.
It's completely gone. And we'll see what they can make happen here, as they do still have a pretty strong top side. They can still rely on Kiaya potentially in these side lanes to make things happen, but the pressure definitely is mounting as Furia has been able to create so much space, with the stolen Poppy ults, or with the Poppy ults, with the stolen Silas ults. They've been looking really, really good, and Seraphine is just such a problem as you get into the later stages of the game. The amount of healing and shielding that you're putting out, the ultimate CC is incredible. Even grabbed an early Mikhails to deal with the potential gold card picks that are coming through as Eris is building towards that expected rapid fire.
I noticed Eris playing on the side lane, and I love to see this. Twisted Fate just has that inbuilt split pushing power that I think is an advantage that GAM can look to play through.
Furia's just on the dragon again. GAM always seems to be a bit late to show up to these setups. We'll see if they can find the fight now. Tatu going to look for the rejection. Does knock Levi out. Can they finish it in time? Toots threatening on the side. Gets the stolen ult. He's going to look for it. The Pop Blossom connects. Can they actually burst down Toots? Toots has the stolen ult. He trades it back and forth. Kiaya trying to lifesteal drain in the middle of everyone. Can't do it. Artemis down incredibly low. He's on the run now. Also, IU looking for him. So is Tatu. Tatu flashes forward. Knocks him down with the buckler. And the Baron is about to spawn. They just killed off 2. Levi trying to survive here. We'll see if he can get out. Gigo going to flash the wall. Does spot him. Okay, maybe you get the execute, but it doesn't even matter because they're on the Baron. Furia are running away with it.
Furia get what they want. They get the one team fight. They take out the jungler, and they will secure the Baron on spawn. Furia keep playing the fights better. They know how to navigate their way through the 5v5s. They secure another dragon. They'll secure the Baron. And Furia is looking to go match point in this best of 5.
I mean, the gold graph is going to be an absolute cliff as it has swung so heavily back towards Furia. They're playing it out so well. Every time it feels like Tatu is getting really good value with the Poppy ult. And again, we had that stolen ultimate from Toots, able to turn things around. They just couldn't burst anyone down.
So you can see that the Nico ultimates basically get used in exchange, but Ayu is just untouched. He is given so much freedom and space to hit whatever target is in front of him. And when it's just this brawl of people throwing skills at one another, it's always going to be Furia that comes out on top because their champions are just better at winning in those front-to-back fights.
I mean, Seraphine stacked up on everyone, putting out all of this shielding, all of this healing. There's so much CC coming through. GAM basically made the call. We were going to try to just one-shot Toots as he's coming in on the side, but he had the shield from the Nico ult. He had enough HP and shielding coming through from JoJo. Tatsu moves forward. Everyone is there to back him up, and when GAM commit that heavily to him and don't get the kill, the fight is cooked.
I mean, you're completely right. Like, GAM's comp just has so much single target damage that if you don't kill the single target, there's no way that you're going to win out on the fight.
Absolutely. GAM, though, pushing for this tier 2 top, going to try to trade on the other side. They feel like they can't defend the inhibitor, so they're going to just keep pushing here for the base. Levi needs to get out of there as Toots is going to be looking, won't be able to find him with the Abscond Duck, but the base is going to be cracked here on the top side. The arrow does connect, but it's going to be actually Furia that's having to kind of back potentially to, no, they do cancel it as they see that GAM is going to back off themselves, and meanwhile in the base, Toots just killed off GAM in this split screen, got the kill onto Levi. They're now taking the inhibitor, now they're just going to try to end the game here straight up as they have minions in the base. It's going to be up to GAM in the 4v5 to try to defend. We'll see if they can do it. Their wave clear is not that strong. Furia pushing, poking down Kiaya, looking for the root, won't quite find it. The first Nexus tower down incredibly low. Eris does find the gold card. Toots getting down to about half HP, but he still has a stolen ultimate here, and Elio's gonna look for it. Goes in with the pop blossom, connects on multiple members, but Kiaya is being focused down on the other side. Eris trying to do what he can, but Artemis is already gone. GAM are falling, and Furia pull off the comeback, move us to match point. What a performance from the Brazilian squad.
It felt like the deficit was getting out of control, but Furia stays steadfast. They find some fantastic fights, and they swing the game back in their favor. A huge performance from Furia, and they put themselves one game away